Tony Gallagher says, working from home saves me 1.5 hours times 2.
Beautiful. 3 hours a day. Wow. So you think, well, what could he do? Yeah. So there's, you could do stuff for yourself. You can do some extra exercise. You can just relax. You could, catch up with friends. That's amazing. Like 3 hours in a day. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Ray's just come on. Good to see you on, Ray. And plenty of others have just joined. We're just talking about, are you flexible? And we've just touched on, are you forced into flexibility? I know a lot of people, it's good for them to be in the workplace doing that 9-to-5 job because they're in a situation where for the work that they have to do, they get that done. But if it's the things that they don't have to do, that are that big picture, or they can wait a week or wait 2 weeks, then they don't worry about that too much. It's always the have tos or the things that you're forced into doing.
Well, it's urgent. It's urgency. It's urgency versus important. So we tend to do the urgent things. We tend to answer the emails. We tend to do the low-level things because they're urgent, and it's the important things that is spending time on, doing research, or it might be on doing my side hustle, or developing a particular skill. These things are important, but they're not urgent. And the other thing with all this, Luke, is the comfort versus discomfort. If you're comfortable in something, if you're getting an okay wage and you're able to spend some time with the kids and life's comfortable, then why the hell would I go and, get up early and sacrifice sleep and push myself? And the answer is because you've got a big goal for yourself. That's the answer. The answer is that I'm committed to doing something. Unfortunately, I meet far too many people who are interested in doing things. I'm interested. I'd love to get involved in this, that, or the other, but I'm not committed to doing this, that, or the other.
We spoke about commitment last week. Dean Dawson, good to have you on as well. And moving along with ideas of being flexible is, do you have a flexible or fixed mindset, Tony?
Well, flexible / growth mindset. Growth mindset is one, and obviously those who are listening to us on a regular basis, 100 and something episodes, I would like to think that you've all developed a growth mindset over this time. If you haven't, go back and watch the episodes. But it's a case of a growth mindset being that there are opportunities everywhere. That even in this situation with COVID in New South Wales, there are still opportunities out there. There is always opportunities. Look at mistakes as learning. That's a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is not prepared to do something different because they don't want to make the mistake. Fixed mindset doesn't want to look foolish in front of others. I spoke to a whole heap of lawyers just recently about this very topic. A lot of people in that room. There's a lot of people with ego in that particular practice, and so it's a case of they don't want to look like they're making the wrong decision or they're doing a mistake in front of their peers. And so in a lot of cases, they'll choose not to do something, as opposed to, and this also starts from a cultural point of view, the culture of let's focus on doing different things. Let's learn from these. Let's make mistakes, be prepared to make mistakes, as long as it doesn't, cripple the firm or cripple the business. You're talking businesses generally, but let's do different things. And they call this intrapreneurship as opposed to entrepreneurship. Intrapreneurship being within your organization. What are the things that you can do to challenge the status quo? Quite often these big organizations have so many layers within them, and it's really challenging to shift, because you've got so many people and policies and processes and whatnot. That's where they should encourage this whole intrapreneurship to get people to come up with new ideas, new ways of doing things.
Well, then people stay longer in their jobs, right? And they, the company's then more productive if they allow for that growth, if they allow for that flexibility, and having that, I guess, range of different ideas and opinions, different diversity within a company can just really bring out the best if you allow for that. If the leaders are flexible, if those decision makers allow that flexibility around it, they delegate, and it just can be such a powerful thing. And when I look at corporations, I shake my head a lot of the times because they're so stuck. They're so it's so structured. It's so by the book, and it's a big reason why a lot of great people leave their jobs, and it's a big reason why a lot of these companies fail.
Mm-hmm. So one of the reasons that they do that, Luke, is because they've got shareholders to answer to, and so that is that it's a very short-term thinking. They don't want to go too left of centre in case they make a mistake. I've got a great example. I won't say the company, but a great example where I know that a client of my client, they've actually created a small team that is focusing on coming up with entrepreneurial ideas, and I think it's exciting. They're in the lighting space, the electrical and lighting space, and they've got a small team of people, and they've been challenged with doing things different. And a lot of the staff, they sort of work in the dungeon, and they work under sort of the cloak of darkness, with the whole goal of coming up with new new ideas, new ways of doing things. And so that's a great example where a company is recognising the fact that let's set up it's almost like its own business unit, which is effectively what it is. Let them see if they can generate some ideas to then pay for themselves. Right? Let's trial
like an incubator, type of situation.
Yeah, I think it's
That
a wonderful
really, it's forward thinking, and that's what I get us as entrepreneurs need to do. And sometimes we always talk about that idea of in the business, on the business, rather than which way, in the business or on the business. So
we should work on the business, but too many of us work in the business. So yes, that's the thing. On the business is looking at it from a strategic point of view, being visionary, etc. In the business means I'm down in the weeds, I'm doing the urgent stuff, I'm answering emails, I'm dealing with the minutiae, I'm majoring in the minors, right? Versus right. I need to be working on the business.
Sean says, we fit the urgent things that come in amongst all our plans with just slight shifts in timing. For example, we are doing extra babysitting for a friend so that their mum can work away and her kids can be looked after whilst our plans continue, which is great. He also says, look at Blockbuster versus Netflix. Blockbuster refused to adjust to the times and competition because 40% of their income came from late fees. I didn't even know that, actually. Netflix now rules the space. Well, they've got their own competition as well. Apparently, Disney's like on fire with their... And if you think about it, like, look at all these subscription ones now, and you've got Foxtel, Netflix, Stan, Disney. I think Amazon Prime have got one as well, and there's probably more coming into the space. It's amazing, all the TV that's out there, and some of the stuff you can actually get for free.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great example. Subscriptions are everywhere. So that whole model of being subscription, of gyms is subscription. I was with my chiropractor on Friday, and he's looking at something along those lines as well, because people tend to only see him like I did. When I'm feeling sore, and it's about, well, how do we get you to come here more regularly on a subscription model to maintain, as opposed to, when the proverbials hit the fan. So there's so many opportunities to do that and to think differently.
I wash my car on a subscription.
There you go, right? So that's, the other company, the other topical company you've got, well, so many. Kodak was one, Nokia's another. There's a list of these companies that chose that they were market leaders in their time and chose not to innovate, chose to be ignorant of what was going on around them, looking backwards instead of looking forwards. And of course, there's not much left of them today.
And I guess, Tony, we've got to think about these as being entrepreneurs, as being small business leaders, that we are doing the same as well, and that we're spending time on the business, not always in the business. I know we have quarterly chats within Search Party Property to talk about what's going on and what we need to do and what's our next level. How do we improve the processes? What kind of technology can we bring in that's cost effective and also can be more efficient? How do we increase our level of efficiency and customer service within the business as well? There's a lot that we can work on the business on, rather than be, totally in the business doing the transactions, the emails, the phone calls, and so on. So we've got to spend time in that state and be a little bit flexible around it. I know that I'm getting a lot of opinions each and every day around my business, and thinking about thought, whether it comes from the staff that we have, whether it comes from my joint director, all these things. And I've got to be flexible around that. I can't have a fixed mindset around around, oh, well, I know the way, and my way is the highway. So it is team. It is bringing ideas and opinions into it, and then being a little bit flexible on how things can work for you. So that's a message for everyone that is out there today. There's a lot of entrepreneurs they're watching this, and hopefully you can take note of these, of being a little bit flexible within your own mind and with all the opinions that do come around. Maybe at first I may not go, oh, you know, that's not going to work. And I'm thinking about all the, I guess, the positives and the negatives, or you know, what are the boundaries? But sitting with it with a little bit of time, you know, I open up my eyes around what is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. The other balance with that, Luke, however, is if you have too many ideas come in, then it becomes overwhelming. So you need to have a process, right? So you need to have a process within your business. What do you do with the ideas that come in? Because there's no shortage of ideas. And so it's about, you know, and also recognizing that some of the ideas, you won't proceed with them for a whole range of reasons. So then how do you communicate that back to that person who gave you the idea while still keeping them feeling engaged, you know, motivated, and so on and so forth? Just say, no, that's a shitty idea, but clearly that's not going to end well for the employees. So there's a way, obviously, in which you do it. And I've given the extreme example, but it's that balance, right? But it's about wanting to recognize that the way we're doing things today is not the best way. And so, you know, you think about like buyer's agency, just as an industry, for example, it wasn't that well known probably, you know, 5-10 years ago. And now it's starting to become, you know, more popular. But then you go across, I know you didn't go last year with COVID, but the year before you went across to the States to your real estate technology, you know, fair. I know you came up to the Gold Coast recently for an event as well to see what's happening in the industry, right? So you're putting yourself out there to see, you know, what direction is the industry going in. The big thing is, a simple thing for everyone is to recognise, well, within your process, if there's something that's a little bit clunky, if it feels like there's some friction, then ask yourself, is there something else we can do differently? You know, and
well,
it might just
Gary V's advice to me when I met him. Gary
there you go.
Said to me, if there's friction.
I got his shoes on at the moment, actually. So there you go. I'm channeling Gary V through his shoes.
Well,
right
I just talked about with my past business, and he said, basically, Luke, if there's friction, change it.
Yeah. And
that's
the thing.
That's that simple.
Yeah.
And we've just got to look at those things for ourselves.
Yeah, correct.
Tony, moving on to the third item.
Yes.
What are the boundaries of flexibility? And maybe that comes in towards what, you know, what you said about ideas. There's so many ideas that are out there. As a business search party property in your coaching business, you can do one-on-one, you can do sessions, you can, you know, be on stage talk, you can do a whole bunch of things within coaching. As we can in our search party property around doing investors, home buyers. We can look at, you know, developing things that we've got maybe syndications in. You know, there's a whole myriad of things that we can have a look at. But what kind of boundaries are we setting around our flexibility? Do we need to expand those boundaries? Do we, you know, we talk about comfort zones and things like that. And I'm talking a lot right now because I know Tony needs to just get the heat up, and how he does that is often by talking. So I just thought I'd allow him to freeze a little.
And I'm absolutely freezing.
It is 12 degrees up there, only 7. I do have the gloves, the scarf. I've got a couple of layers down below as well. So Tony, over to you in terms of boundaries.
Well, you don't want to stifle creativity, but then you also want to be, so, you know, you want to encourage people to have those ideas, but then you want to manage those ideas appropriately. You know, things are changing all the time. And so, like you said, there'll be things that you hear for the first time and it doesn't quite resonate with you, but you sit with that. You let that just mull over that particular idea, and who knows where that'll go. So I don't know if there should be any boundaries per se from ideas. There needs to be boundaries as in how you manage all those ideas. So again, think of it like a funnel, right? I've got all this stuff coming in the top of my ideas funnel, but then how am I managing all of those ideas? What are we doing with that? The other thing is that if you ask your staff for ideas and you do nothing with it, or you provide no feedback, then guess what will happen next time you ask for ideas, right? You're going to get that many. And so it's a constant case of ask for ideas, let them know if you're not going to proceed with an idea, if you're going to put it in the car park, then let them know you're going to put it in the car park. Constant communication, because you don't want them to feel disengaged And this happens quite often where, you'll get people who, I see it with leaders, they'll say, hey, let's chat about ideas. And they do nothing with it. And they wonder then next time when they ask for more ideas, the staff go, well, I gave you 5 ideas. I gave you 5 ideas 6 months ago. You did 0 with it. You never gave me any feedback on it. So I'm not going to give you any. And so there's a big thing there from the leaders to follow through, even if you don't proceed with it, right? And a lot of leaders don't want to hurt people's feelings and all that sort of stuff. But it's not about, it's about being honest with people and taking them through the process and letting them know, hey, that idea, good idea, but you know what, not quite now. Maybe there's a financial implication. Maybe it's not as well thought out. But here's what we're going to do for that, and let's review it in 6 months.
Yeah, that's great. So we really today want to bring the idea of flexibility, just bring it top of mind. Tony Gallagher says ideas can provide synergy and in 10 new directions.
It can. The risk can be, Bart, is that then you don't want to get caught up in shiny objectitis. That's the other thing that I wanted to say. I can't even think straight. I'm that damn cold. Is quite often that'll happen. People will get pulled in different directions. Ultimately, it's about, I got my goal down here, and is this going to take me closer towards my goal? Right? And you can always change your goal. It's your goal. But so often people will go, oh, that's a great idea, and they'll head down this rabbit hole. And then they'll go and they'll head down this rabbit hole. And I'm being quite animated because, quite frankly, I am absolutely freezing. So that's the other thing in all this.
Actually, Tony Gallagher got the wording right. It was supposed to be time and not 10. So ideas can provide synergy in time, new direction. So it was interesting that there was actually 2 meanings to that sentence, and they both are relevant, actually.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Maybe this can be a real mindset session for you, Tony, in terms of having clarity in your mind and getting past that. And in these pressure situations, Tony, are you able then to think clearly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have that correct focus.
Yeah, it's about building resilience, isn't it? So would you? I should maybe next week I'll stand here in a singlet or something in a tank top and see how I go. Really challenge myself. Pressure cooker.
Well, it's kind of like when you ran the 7Ks, but it was kind of the reverse, where you were in a situation where your face was beetroot red. Now
I wasn't doing much talking.
Now you look like a bit of a polar bear.
I wasn't doing much talking during the 7Ks. I may have started off doing some talking, but I certainly wasn't towards the end, I can assure you.
I've never seen someone just quietly talk so much while they run. I'm like, this is not going to be good at the end. And I was right on that one, Tony, because it took about an hour to recover from that 7K run.
I did.
Longer than it took to the run itself.
Correct. And then there was the physical recovery during the week. And this is probably the reason that I had to go to my chiropractor on Friday. It may have all started with the 7K run. Who knows? Anyway, absolutely. I feel better today.
Tony Gallagher reckons that you need SEAL training, Navy SEAL training.
Yes.
Maybe that's a challenge that you need to do, Tony. Sean says boundaries on flexibility for us would be if the deal, so the property deal where they're looking at isn't going to stack, we move on. Or we find a supplier with one of the projects 5 or 10 years from now. We'll spend 5 minutes or so to check on the company, make a note of its link and its details, and put that project on file, and continue with on what I'm actually doing for now with the goals. So I guess, keeping that focus as well as, putting those ideas, like Sean says, to the side, referring them back in future when they do want to make those decisions or those ideas do come up again.
Yeah, good. Great idea, because otherwise, if you don't do that, then you'll head down the rabbit hole, and that's the whole shiny objectitis. So, if it's not relevant for now, take a note, whatever your system is, and it sounds like you've got a great system.
I hope everyone's able to stick in for the next half an hour because we've got some more.
No, we're not. No, we're not, because I'll just pack up and I'll go. So we won't be sticking for half an hour. So sorry to disappoint.
Everyone loves my comedy. Absolutely. Putting Tony on the spot. Tony, Absolutely love today's session. Flexibility is a big one for me. I've always held that true into, it's a big reason why I actually left my job, actually my 9-to-5 job. I wanted to seek flexibility. I was one to come in at 7 o'clock, leave at 6 o'clock, but during the day, if I wanted to go and do my own thing, I wanted to do that. Now, bosses in the past haven't been very reluctant to go in with my flexibility because it sets a bad example, maybe, of other people, for other people in the workplace. But the same way as, like, you know, for me coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning doesn't lead by example either somehow. But anyway, flexibility is a big one for all of us to think about on this Sunday morning, this mindset session. Any final words before you freeze, Tony?
Well, recognise that there is no certainty, right? There isn't certainty. There's certainty if you don't do something. Sorry, there is certainty. And I talk about the three things that are certain, one being death, one being taxes, and the other being that if you don't do something, then I guarantee you'll never achieve that something. So it's about taking a chance, taking a risk, taking a calculated risk, but you need to do something. You need to be flexible. You need to be adaptable, and you need to be like Bruce Lee and be like water, not like ice, which I'm feeling like at the moment.
All right. Well, stand as a statue. One certain thing that might happen, if you stand there, you might freeze.
I probably will. So there are a lot of people walking past are laughing at me because what you're not seeing, maybe I don't know how this is looking on the video, but mate, I'm jumping around, my legs are going, I'm hot. People walking past in there, it's entertaining them. So there you go, helping with their engagement.
You love the attention, Tony, and that's what it's all about. Okay, guys, over and out for today. It's been a great one, and we will speak to you soon.
Bye. Bye.